Well, look at that. There's Maggie sitting in the sun of the window in the van. So today, we're going to talk about van life, what it means to us and what it doesn't mean. Good morning, YouTube. I hope everybody's fine out there. We're still in the middle of the pandemic, though we're getting towards the end, at least as the government sees it, because they're starting to open things up. In this state, Georgia, and some of the other states, they're starting to open up different malls and different businesses. They're allowing them to open with some restrictions, capacity restrictions, still maintaining some social space, etc. So things appear to be, on the surface anyway, heading back towards normalcy, if you will. I'm not sure what new normal is going to be, but we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, before we get started, let me just share with you this particular item here. This is a hat that was presented to me by my daughter-in-law, and it clearly says Israeli Army on it. No, I was not in the Israeli Army. I was in the United States Army, and daughter-in-law was over in Israel for a tour, and she picked this up and brought it back for me. Figured it would be nice as a souvenir from Israel and the fact that I was in the United States Army. So anyway, that aside, what are we doing here today? Well, we're still in the driveway. Today, actually, what we're doing is we're draining the tanks, the water tanks. We are going out in about 2 weeks for a 4-day trip to a state park. We're going to meet up with some friends. Georgia state parks are open for camping, have been. I've been to a couple. So this will be another trip out there. I will activate ham radio, Parks on the Air, out to that park also. So what we're doing now is, it's been a while, so I'm draining the water tanks, going to freshen them up, get ready to put fresh water in next week. Taking an inventory of supplies, beverages, clothes, staples that are in the van to see if I need to restock anything before we go out. While we're out here, I thought I'd take a few minutes. It's a beautiful day. Maggie's out here, as you saw, with me, and talk to you a little bit about van life. And this, again, this is coming from my perspective. What is van life to me, and what isn't it? First of all, I mean, you must know that I'm not a full-time vanner. I have a full-time residence. During normalcy, I try to get out a week to 2 weeks per month traveling. And you see a lot of brochures, especially for Class B vans and Class C motorhomes. The picturesque on the beach, boondocking on the shores or in a mountain overlooking a valley, and they're beautiful. And that can be your van life. It absolutely can be. But that's kind of misleading, because that's not everyday van life. And it sure isn't to me. And I'm sure it isn't for most people, but that's a nice thing to do, and it is an option. For me, van life is freedom. What do I mean by that? I'm free to go where I want to go. With my Zion SRT, I can park anywhere. Any legal parking spot that I could park a pickup truck in, this van will fit. So I can go into any town, any city, I can park. I can go to a state park. I can go to free parking in a state forest or something like that, and actually be out there boondocking in the middle of nowhere. If I could find a beach, now more likely you'll find that in the west, but if I could find a beach on the east side of the U.S. where I could park and put the van right at the beach and sit along the ocean or a lake, I can do that too. It's the freedom to do what I want to do and pretty much go where I want to go, wherever this van will take me. I'm not restricted because it's a small size. It will get most places that any pickup truck would. You do have a couple height restrictions, but other than that, it gives me freedom. It gives me freedom to go, gives me freedom to camp where I want, gives me freedom to travel where I want. I travel a lot. I go to Texas. We go up to Michigan. We go to New Hampshire and Maine. A lot of these trips, and don't forget Florida at New Year's, a lot of these trips are geared towards going to a destination and seeing people that have entered my life sometimes from as far back as the 1960s, and visiting and rekindling friendships with these people. And but the freedom I have is I don't have to worry about dog-friendly motels. I don't even have to worry about a campground. I can stop in a rest area. I can stop at a Walmart. I can stop at a Cracker Barrel and park for the night. I'm fully self-contained, boondock capable, meaning I have my own power, my own water. I do not need any services. I can stop anywhere I want and park for the night and keep right on moving. That's a freedom that I didn't have before, especially traveling with Maggie, where if I was staying in a motel, I had to find a dog-friendly motel, and I had to do this, and I had to do that. I had to worry about food. Hey, I carry my food. I carry my water. I got lithium batteries and solar power. I carry my electricity. So it's a freedom for me. A lot of brochures and stuff will paint the romantic picture of van life and camping life in general, and there's a lot of truth to that, but that's not all it is. It's not all glamorous. There's work to it, especially in a van. You can't take all of your quote-unquote toys. There's a lot of things that I have that I like to do that I can't carry everything in this van. So there's work to minimalize your life somewhat when you travel. There's a little bit of work to set up and to tear down. As opposed to walking in a motel, carrying a bag in and plop it on the bed. But with that little bit of work comes freedom. There's sometimes loneliness on the road. You go to a regular campground, yeah, there's usually people around. You get to know your neighbors, you say howdy, and traipse back and forth between campsites. When you're out traveling on the road, you don't have quite the same when you pull into a truck stop or a rest area or something like that. You just kind of stay to yourself. You're not sitting outside in most of those cases because you're not putting out an awning and a lawn chair and cooking outside. But I've got the freedom. I can cook inside. We've got electric inside. If the weather's bad, we can stay inside. It all boils down to freedom. I can stop where I want, when I want. If I'm tired in the middle of the day, nothing stops me from pulling into a rest area, pulling off on the side of the road, or into a rest area parking lot, climbing in the back of the van and taking a short nap. Maggie likes her naps. She's napping right now, right behind me. And so it's all of that freedom to go where you want to go, when you want to go, and how you want to do it. And for me, that's the van life. The loneliness, yeah, when you're on the road, you can be a little bit lonely, but you know what? If I was traveling in the truck, wouldn't be any more populous where I'm going. I might have a conversation with somebody at the check-in desk, but then I get to my motel room and guess what? I'm alone. So it's not all glamorous, but there's a lot of benefits to it. It allows you to do things you can't normally do. Stopping when you want, staying where you want, visiting places you want that you couldn't necessarily stay at. You know, I can stay at a nice campground. I can stay at a minimalist campground. I can stay in a boondocking site. So I love the freedom of the van life, and I make the sacrifices of being alone a little bit, little extra work, set up, tear down. Though that's not all that much, to be honest with you, and you only have to set up as much as you feel like setting up. I don't have to put out a chair and a table and a rug and all that stuff. It's here in the van. If I just want to stop for the night, I don't have to put down the awning. We can go out, take a walk, come back in, and go to bed. So, boils down to freedom and what you want to do. I enjoy camping in regular campsites. As I say, in 2 weeks, we're going to a state park, meeting some friends from Florida there. Maggie and their dogs and us, and we're going to have a nice 3 days there. And that's enjoyable too. But again, freedom. I can do that. I can do that. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have a lot of pack up and go. boils down to freedom. So it's not a glamorous life, but it's a free life. And if you want the glamorous by the beach, you can do that. You want to be in the mountains overlooking the valley, you can find a spot, state forest, federal land management areas have free parking. They don't have any services in most of those places, but hey, you don't care. If you're like me, you're fully self-contained. You can pull off there and you can stop. And that weekend may be glamorous, but don't bet your dollars that every day is that glamorous, because it's not. Trust me, I've been out there somewhere stopping for the night and it's pouring down rain. You can't even hardly step out of the van. So days like that are not so glamorous, but you take the good with the bad, and you weigh what you're getting out of it. And for Maggie and I, as I've said multiple times in this video, it's the freedom. So van life for us is freedom. It means a lot to us. That's how we travel. We stop when we want, we go where we want, and we do what we want. And that's what the van life provides for us, as opposed to having a bigger camper or no camper and staying in motels. This just offers us so much more to be able to pick and choose what and where and how we want to do things. We stay in driveways. Mooch docking, my friend calls it. We'll park in somebody's driveway, a friend of ours, and spend the day with them. Again, that's freedom. You can't do that with a fifth wheel. And if you don't want to impose upon them, it's kind of hard to do that in a regular four-wheel vehicle. We visit with them, we socialize with them, and at night they've got their space. We come back out to the van, and if I want to leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, I just get up, go start the van, and drive away. I don't have to wake anybody up in the house or anything else. So again, it's freedom, and it doesn't impose upon others. So it's a good life. And as I say, as you know, and remember it, we're not doing it full time. Full time is even harder yet. So there is hardships involved, but trust me, they're well worth it. And I enjoy every minute we get out, and I look forward to it. Sorry about the pandemic, because it's keeping us in more, but we've got a nice trip coming up in 2 weeks, and we're looking forward to that. So anyway, hopefully you got a little bit of understanding of how we feel about van life and how we live it, what it is and what it isn't, and hope you'll join us on our next trip and see a little bit of living in the van. We'll actually be at a campsite where we can show you that, rather than our driveway where we're at now. And let's see if we can get Maggie up here to say goodbye. Maggie, come here. Here she is. She's going to come up and she's going to say goodbye to everybody. She likes to be on the camera. She just got a bath yesterday, and so she's a little bit frizzled. But anyway, thanks for following along. Thanks for checking out our channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe, hit the little bell. You'll get notifications whenever a new video comes out. They come out every Wednesday. We try to keep them somewhat related to the van and camping. Sometimes they include ham radio, sometimes photography. Sometimes they have nothing to do with the van, but we try to minimize those. So the subject today is van life, and we love it, and we love the freedom. So take care. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you down the road a piece. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, Maggie.